Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidence Leads to Success. I am Elif Köse. I'm so excited to share my new guest with you all. As you know, I am all about women empowerment. And when I say empowerment, I don't just use this fancy word to just have it in my vocabulary. I mean it. And I always try and collaborate with other women who are also on the same mission. Today, I have got Hannah Roper here. She is on a mission to empower female business owners to reduce the overwhelm and head towards the success doing what they love. And her story of how she was furloughed at the beginning of the COVID lockdown, we all did, we all had these issues, but she turned it all around and she decided to start her own business to help other women while she was actually working for the company that she was working with anyway. And that is how she juggles it all and successfully delivers great business to others is so inspiring. And I love having you here, Hannah. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It is so good to have you here because you have got so much knowledge and experience working for for companies, but now starting your own business almost 2 years. How you manage with your effective planning and how you manage your goals and be able to run both businesses, because I know so many entrepreneurs, so many women want to do what you're doing, but they have that fear if they can manage it, and we would love if you could share your journey with us.
Sure. And that's, I think when I reflect back, sometimes I look and I think, how did I do all of that? And how am I still doing that? But I think it does show that it's totally possible. So just to give you a little bit of background about me,
Yes,
I
please.
have been in the world of learning and development for over 20 years now. So I started straight out of university. I trained as a primary school teacher. I've taught secondary school. I've taught abroad. I then had a complete change of career and went into the police force. So I was an operational police officer for 13 years, but halfway through my career, I went into the learning and development department, where again, I was responsible for creating learning programs, helping to develop others, and also mentor other people that were coming into the department, that were new to the department. I was quite unusual in that, yes, I was a serving police officer, but I also had all of that educational background. I'd been a trained teacher, I'd worked in that environment. I then left the police and I went to work for a very large aviation company in the south of England and went into the training department. And again, was building learning packages, was working with air traffic controllers around developing them, developing their knowledge, and really creating that learning culture of being able to learn something new. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. It was my dream job. Now,
Amazing.
give you a little bit of context then, kind of how I've got my business knowledge over the years is, whilst I was in the police force, I was in recovery from a very, very abusive relationship. So I had walked away from my marriage, father of my child, because it was an incredibly toxic, incredibly abusive environment.
So brave. Well done.
And I needed some way to cope. I needed some way to rediscover myself. Now, my mother put me on the stage when I was 5 years old. I was a real theatre baby. In fact, I was, even when she was pregnant with me, she was performing on stage. So I'd always had music in my blood. I'd done a music degree. I taught music as well. And after leaving that abusive relationship, I started to rediscover singing. And I started songwriting, which I hadn't done in years, years and
Oh,
years.
amazing.
And I basically channeled everything that I'd experienced within my recovery, leaving that abusive relationship, and I channeled that into music, and I started to write my own music. Well, I then got encouraged to release that music, and you can now find my music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. I've been lucky enough to perform all over the UK, and it really helped with my recovery.
Confidence.
but it also really helped me with my confidence, but it also taught me so much about branding myself as a singer-songwriter, about marketing myself as a singer-songwriter, and also organising events and that organisation. So I became queen of spreadsheets. And
You
as if that,
become that when you're an entrepreneur, don't you?
you do, absolutely. If you don't have a spreadsheet, then, where are you? Because spreadsheets are just my life.
Yeah.
So I had learned all of those skills. And when I was in the police force, I knew that that wasn't the career that I wanted. I was looking at other options. So I've dabbled in social selling, network marketing. I worked for a wellness company, fantastic company, absolutely loved them. Again, learned so much more about branding, about marketing, and about social media. So you're really using social media to kind of spread your message and allow people to see your personal brand. So I'd had all of that experience as well. And then COVID hit and suddenly everything stopped. So I couldn't sing anymore because
of the
concerts were
lockdown.
cancelled.
Yeah.
I am also founder and director of a 3-day country music festival down in the south because I didn't have enough on my plate doing what I was doing, and decided to bring all of the country music artists that I knew down to my area, because there weren't a lot of music performances with that genre down in the south of England. That stopped. Couldn't do that anymore. And then I had a phone call from my boss saying, we're going to put you on furlough. And I broke down, absolutely broke down, because everything I knew, that hectic, busy lifestyle that I knew, suddenly came screeching to a halt. And I needed to do something. As you can probably tell, I'm a very busy person. I don't rest on my laurels.
Multi-passionate, we called you.
Yes, I love that. Multi-passionate, absolutely. And I started to figure out what am I going to do. I'd always wanted my own business, but I had that mindset of, I'm in the corporate world. Why do I need my own business? Why have I got time? Can I run these things, alongside each other? Bearing in mind, I had the music career as a business, I had the country music festival as a business, and I was still working in the corporate world. But I knew that there was something inside me that just couldn't just rest. And I'd been told that the furlough period was likely to be 5-6 months. It's a long time to suddenly go from running at 100 miles an hour to zero. I've got, he's now 12, I've got a 12-year-old son and an 8-year-old stepdaughter, and even homeschooling them, which back in the first lockdown was nowhere near as organised as when we locked down last Christmas, is, there wasn't huge amounts for us to do. There wasn't huge amounts keeping us occupied. The weather was nice, the children were out playing all the time. I suddenly had time. So I joined an online community of creative women, and I went to an online class called Business Development, and it was all about developing your business ideas, turning something that you loved into some sort of business idea. And I was listening. I didn't know what I was going to do. Didn't have a clue.
Well, most of us don't know at the beginning. You just follow your heart, don't you? You just follow your intuition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you take those opportunities. And I was amongst a lot of mums who had a creative hobby. So some sort of product-based activity that they wanted to start selling. They had more time to create. Now we were in this situation because of COVID-19, and they wanted to start selling to make some pocket money, to make some money back. And what really struck me is they were so stuck in terms of, how do I use social media? How do I create a logo? How do I even decide on a business name? And it hit me that I can help with all of those things. All of that experience that I'd had over the previous, 7 years in terms of branding, marketing, the country music side of things, the network marketing, I could use all of that to help support other mums. So I just started to offer my advice. I helped a few people out in designing logos. I've designed my own websites for years because of the country music side of things. It was a skill that I
had the skills to do the web design as well.
Absolutely.
So all that.
And I'm not a coder, I'm not a web designer by trade, I'm completely and utterly self-taught, but that really helped because what I could do was help get people started. and then they could take over. I could teach them how to do it and they could take over. And I then started to think about myself. I branded myself. I created the Female Creative. I registered as a limited company because, you know, go big or go home in my world. And I put my services out there. And within a month, I was at full capacity. I was working harder than I'd ever worked in any of my full-time jobs. I had so many clients, and it was incredible, and it showed how much it was needed, especially locally to me. And through working with those clients, I did a lot of social media marketing. I ran workshops, I ran branding workshops, I helped with logos, I helped with web design, I helped with social media strategy. And I was able to really test out what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And I kind of went through that process. And about 4 months in, I invested in a business coach. And that was one of the best things that I ever did, was invest in that business coach, because straight away I revisited my pricing because I was charging way too low, which links to confidence, because I thought, who am I? I don't have any
not worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any formal qualifications to say that I understand all of these things about marketing or about branding. I'm completely self-taught, but what I didn't give myself credit for was that's so relatable to my ideal client. They're not looking for certificates. They're not looking for, you know, me to
They want to get the job done.
They want to get the job done.
As simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to get the job done, and they want to do it with someone who understands that juggle.
So I just want to come in and ask you a question when you say all this, because now listeners are probably leaned in and listening, going, whoa, well, she started and within a month she was so busy. Okay, what exactly you did? So did you talk about your brand, what you're offering, in what channels? How did they actually get to know you? Where did they find you?
So online networking. Because I was part of this online community, that was fantastic for me. That got me a lot of my early clients. And from that, I had a lot of referrals. So a lot of friends then of previous clients that I had came to me. And I really upped my Instagram visibility. Absolutely went all out in using Instagram, because I knew, and especially in that time frame, all of my ideal clients were on Instagram. You know, we were all at home. We were allowed out for like 1 hour a day. Everyone was online. So it was really about tapping in.
Well, I just want to say something though, Hannah, if you don't mind me sharing this, because I know you were in online platforms, you were in communities, you were on social media, you upped your Instagram. But if your message and your offer wasn't clear enough, I don't think those people would have found you. You clearly told them exactly what you do for them.
And because I had to put that into practice. That's what I was saying. I was going to help other people with. So I really had to balance not only working with then the clients that I was getting coming in, and some of them were friends. And, you know, the biggest confidence boost for me was when I had a client come through that I had never met before, that I didn't know, that had been referred to me from somebody else. They'd seen my social media, they'd seen what I had done, and straight away they handed over their money because they wanted to work with me. And you're absolutely right, and that clear messaging is so important. But what I want people, and this is what I talk to my clients about, is your message can change, because when you first start your business, you need to understand who you are, you need to understand who you're serving, but that's going to naturally evolve as you grow in confidence. So there was a lot of me, not fake it till you make it, but kind of along those lines.
It can be, yes, it can be. I mean, let me tell you, I mean, I'm organizing this interview series to help other women to build confidence in themselves, to go all in, whatever they're doing, and believe in themselves, and have that growth mindset to say, I don't know it, but I can learn mentality. And I didn't know what I was doing at the beginning.
None of us do.
I make mistakes every day. You know, problems come. as you start up your computer, your battery runs out and you don't realize you've got, or you've got internet connection problems. So there's always some problems. But what happens is in the entrepreneurial world, we will always face problems. We'll always have issues. But if you focus on the results and if you always focus on the positivity, you'll always find an answer. And you are a true example of how you're upside down. Somebody else might say you were furloughed, you were all these up and busy running multi-passionate entrepreneurs, suddenly put in a spot, you've got nothing to do now. And how you turned it around and found that gift within you to help others is great. It's just so inspiring.
Thank you. And I forget that sometimes, and I think this is something else that I work with my clients with, because I coach women one-to-one now. My offering has evolved because I've evolved and I've become more confident. And I have to say, I have learned more about myself in the last 20 months than I have ever learned and I have had some incredible experiences in my time, and I've also suffered quite severe trauma that I had to recover from and rediscover myself after everything. I felt like everything had been stripped away from me. And I think we don't always give ourselves credit, especially as women and especially as mums. We're so busy thinking about everybody else,
yes,
that actually we don't take time to reflect. And that's something that I work with my clients on, is looking back and going, oh my God, I did do that. I have achieved that. And that's actually pretty epic. So I'm going to use that to spur me on to keep doing what I do best.
I think what happens is, I'd love everyone, who's listening right now to actually just lean in and listen to this. You don't have to know everything. You can just teach and share and give what you have, as much as you have. And you have every right to say, when it comes to the point that you can't help someone anymore, this is where your network comes in. You can say, that is out of my expertise, but I know someone exactly who would be perfect for your needs, and then you pass them on. But don't stop yourself because you don't know everything, because there is no perfect. There is I know it really all. Is there?
No, and I think this was a real, again, another turning point for me as I was working my business. The last time I studied business studies was back at A-level when I was 18. So that's the last time I did a formal qualification in business. And I was talking to people who had business degrees, who had marketing degrees, and they didn't know it all.
Yeah, but they don't mean anything if you don't know how to do it in practice.
And exactly that. And I think that's something that puts off a lot of women, is they feel, I've got no business background. And as you've mentioned before, I have my own podcast, the Female Creative Talks, and my sole purpose is interviewing female entrepreneurs who have been at that beginning. They may have
start at the beginning. Nobody just put us here where we are. No.
But sometimes it can look like that. I know, right? It can look like that. And especially, I love social media, but social media can also be very misleading, because you only do see the highlight reel. You see the success. And I've spoken to several clients who have come to me and said, I've got this business idea. I thought I was doing well, but I'm looking on social media and all these people are having overnight success and I'm not having it.
No, they don't.
And it's not, and then that's what I say. There is no such thing as what you haven't seen is the 10 years, working hard behind
trial and error and failures, and then it succeeds.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's why I love what I do, and I love working with the women that I work with, because we can bust down those myths, we can break down those barriers, and we have it all in us. Exactly. And as you mentioned, growth mindset, that's what enables you to be successful, is that willingness to be open and say, I don't know this, can I learn it? And if I can't learn it, can I outsource it? And if
Yeah.
I can't outsource it, do I know somebody else that I can pass them on to?
Love it.
And that's it. And that's how we successfully run our businesses. But I think for so long we weren't talking about that. We were showing that highlight reel, we were showing the successes, we were showing the highs, but we weren't showing the lows. So it's really important to me, and I posted on my Instagram story over the weekend. I had a massive plan. I was going to put loads of content out over the weekend because I was feeling really inspired.
Same.
I had my COVID booster jab on Thursday and it knocked me for 6. So I shared that on my social media. I'm sorry I'm missing Small Business Saturday because, oh my God, this is what I do, is I support small businesses.
Yeah.
But I'm suffering right now. So I'll be back when I feel better. And I think we are starting to show that more and more, and that's showing how
I think what is best to do, what I would suggest, ladies, if you're, if you're like always like stop looking at other people. Look, because you are you and you do you the best.
yes,
Nobody else can do you than any other person, So, and I really love Nelson Mandela's quote. He said that it only seems impossible until it's done. Just get on with
yes,
it,
yes.
okay?
Take that first step.
Exactly, I'm a fashion designer, and I didn't know anything when I started. I didn't even go to fashion school. I've got a degree in business. I never studied in fashion. I never even took any fashion course when I started. And how I turned that, nothing to now becoming a global brand. I sell across the globe. I have stockists in States, in Europe, in England. And I did that because I gave myself permission to try.
Yes.
So just stop delaying your dreams. Just get on with it.
Just go for it. And I think there is some real merit in finding people. You hear people talk about finding your tribe, finding your community, and I think that's really important. And that was something that I wanted to do as part of my offering. Is I do have a monthly membership group, really, really low cost, really accessible for people right at the very start of their business. And yes, I give hints and tips and I will give a bit of support, but the most valuable thing is the support they give each other, because they can share those highs and those lows. They can share that really practical advice of, I tried this and it didn't work, but I tried this and that really worked for me. And being able to go in and ask those questions. So often I have clients that come to me and say, oh, no, this is a really silly question. No, there's no such thing as a silly question. And having that safe space that you can ask those questions,
feel safe to ask,
really safe, and it's just invaluable. So anyone at the beginning of that journey, I would say find people that are like you, that understand what you're going through, because as I mentioned, I was juggling then all of this against my full-time job. So in the September last year, I went back to work, and I went back to work full-time. Now, what COVID has brought is that understanding of flexible home working so much more into the corporate world. And that has enabled me to keep juggling my full-time business as well as my full-time job. But I'm having to make choices. If I have a busier week at work, I will then pull back and I will do less with my business. I will do the essential activities rather than maybe some of those growth activities, and vice versa. If I have a quieter week at work, I'll pull back on the day job side of things and I'll do more business. But my husband didn't understand that. He said, why are you now spending time doing this other business? You don't need it. And I earn a very, very comfortable wage in the day job, so I'm not doing this for financial reasons. But if COVID has taught me anything, is that being in the corporate world is unsettled and anything can happen. And I don't know if in a year's time, 2 years' time, something else will happen in the aviation industry and I will be made redundant. I may get to the point where I don't like my job anymore. For me, having the female creative is about giving me choices. And that's something that I think I've seen a lot when women start up a business and they go into that entrepreneurial space. there is that pressure then of when are you giving up the day job? When are you going to go all in into your business? And it's okay if that's not what you want. And I think people have stopped asking me now because I'm very vocal about the fact that I juggle both, and that's my choice. And something that I truly believe in is start a business before you need it, because the moment you need it, it's too late, because you've got to go through all of that initial working things out and understanding who you are and what you want to offer and how you want to grow that. If you do that and you can juggle that alongside your day job, it gives you choices. And that's what it's all about for me, is choices. But having that community, when my husband's then saying, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You don't need it. I can go to my community and get their support, which is just so important.
Yeah, I mean, I always say one of the secrets to my success is building a community and having community of women around me who believe in me, who support me, who understands my journey, and who will actually help me. It will help me make decisions on my products and services.
Yeah.
And this is, I mean, at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I would have loved to have someone like myself. Now I'm helping business fashion designers, as you know, who at the beginning or they already started but they need a bit of help to scale their businesses, to understand where they're at, what they need to do. There's like smallest little details that, like, one of my clients, for instance, she was having this trouble with her Facebook ads, why it wasn't working, why it wasn't reaching out to the right people. And I just asked her a very simple question: is your website pixel is attached in every page to your Facebook and Instagram? She didn't even know what I was talking about. So when you don't know, you don't know. If
No,
you don't
exactly
know, you
that.
don't know. And I didn't know this, and I learned it after
Yeah.
spending so much money. After investing so much money in the wrong part of my business. So this is why having people like us who's been through it to help you to actually skip through all those sections, and
Yes.
you Googling to find the answer and understanding if it's the right thing. I mean, yes, you can Google it. It's
Yeah.
out there. But if it's going to answer your specific question at the time when you need it, it's it's something else. So I love that you've also said that investing in your business coach was the best thing that you've
Yes.
done. It gives you
Absolutely.
clarity.
Yeah. And just another perspective, and that's what I love so much about my business. I know probably when I watch this back, I will say what I love all the time. Another thing that I love about being a business coach, and I've started to call myself more of a business development coach, because that's where my passion lies, in helping individuals develop themselves within their business, is when you work with somebody like me, I have a much more of a holistic view of your business. I'm not right down in the weeds, and I'm not as emotionally involved as you are. I get a bit emotionally involved. I'm not going to lie. Like, if you work with me, you get a friend as well as a business coach and an
Yes.
absolute cheerleader. But I can have that higher overview, and I can see things that the business owners themselves can't necessarily see. And that example that you gave there about the Facebook ads, so often there's a really quick fix, but if you don't know, you don't know. So having somebody that's been there, that's done that, and can help you work through that problem at
So
an
having
accelerated
that somebody
rate.
who's done that before, you can just ask the question rather than trying to figure out all on your own. Because, like Marie Forleo says, everything is figure outable.
Yes, and
It
it
just you just need
is.
to ask the right question, and you really need to. The one thing I always tell my friends, my clients, my family, even my son, what do you want? What do you
Yeah,
want from your business?
yeah,
What do you want for your life from your business, and how it should look like for you? Because if you have that clear vision, everything and every opportunity comes up, you will know which one to say yes to and which one to say no to, rather than just being constantly proactive, because that can be exhausting.
really exhausting. And that's why I talk about reducing the overwhelm, because as mums, especially, we are overwhelmed all the time. There's so many things that are inside our brain
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
And when you add a business into that, I've seen women who then are working all hours, that are not getting to sleep till 3, 4 in the morning, and they're working so hard, but they're not seeing the results that they're expecting. And what I can then do is help strip that back and look at those long-term goals, look at those medium-term, those short-term goals, and help them prioritize activities that are going to move them towards those goals, rather than doing everything all at once.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've really seen a tendency with mums is the high expectations that they put on themselves to do everything right now. So being able to prioritize, being able to strip things back, has enabled my clients to really then make that progress and just feel like they've got headspace and that clarity.
Yeah. That planning is really good. So good. Oh my God, I really love this. It's so good. Thank you so much, Hannah. Honestly, I just want to ask you last one question, even though I could talk to you for another 2 hours. Your knowledge, your wisdom, and your passion to help women in business, mums in business, to overcome their own obstacles that they create in their head.
We all do it.
Yeah, we do it. I do it. I know it, and I love that we've had this conversation today, because I needed to hear everything that I knew already from you. So it's so beautiful. Just one thing, if there was one thing that you could help someone who's just starting out their business, let it be product based or service based, what one thing they should do to get that start going? I know there are hundreds of things. I know, but then if there was one part of their business that they need to kind of focus to begin with, what would that be?
I think it's on themselves. If I'm really, really honest, as we mentioned, all the information's out there. There are so many groups you can join that are going to give you some of those really practical tips about, getting a business bank account or starting up your social media. There's all of those things out there. The biggest barrier that I've seen for people starting is their own confidence, is their own self-belief. So right from the very, very beginning, because most women that start their business, what they've started their business to do, they do really well. So whether it be, like say, creating a product, whether it be offering a service, they know that they can do that. Celebrate your wins, however small they are. And this is something that I'm really having to put into practice a lot at the moment myself, as well as instill it in my clients on the run up to Christmas, when our lives are so busy, are so hectic, that you will get to the end of the day and you will think, what have I done today? But breaking that down step by step and saying, well, actually, I sent this email off. I opened my business bank account today. I set up my social media account today. I reached out to a potential collaboration today, and give yourself a pat on the back for it, because those small actions are what is going to take you further and further each day. So right from the very, very beginning, celebrate your wins. Give yourself credit for how amazing you are and how you've fitted those activities, business activities in, despite the rest of the stuff that is going on around in your world.
Love it. Focus on the step you're in, ladies.
Yes, absolutely. One step at a time. You see those quotes, don't you? That don't look at the whole wall, what the whole wall's going to look like. Put that first brick in, or don't look at the top of the ladder.
Don't even put the brick in there. There's not even a wall. It's all in your imagination. Just do as in your own pace.
Yeah, and just start. Just start, because you've got nothing to lose at that early stage.
I love it, Hannah. Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom. I love having this conversation with you. Ladies, I'm going to share Hannah's details on the show notes, and you will get to connect with her and be part of her community and be part of her mission.
Please do come join me.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great. Ladies, I will see you on the next next series, hopefully, we'll have more women who are on a mission to help you succeed in your life with anything that you dream of. Have a lovely day. Take care.